Pirates of the Caribbean Online got shut down in 2013. Disney just decided to cut the project the same way they did with Toontown Online and Pixie Hollow, and a bunch of other MMOs that they were running with at the time. But the fans weren't really ready to give the game up yet, so 2 years later, a couple of fan developers got together and released The Legend of Pirates Online. Different name, probably for copyright reasons, but it's supposed to be a fan-made recreation of the original, almost to like an exact replica, with, of course, a couple of features added to make the game interesting for new players, and, to motivate the returning players to have new stuff to explore and do. So this is a private server that's completely open to the public and free to play, and you can download and check out the game right now, which is exactly what I decided to do because I never got the chance to play Pirates of the Caribbean Online growing up, so I decided to just get in, check it out, and play for it myself on stream, and of course I want to share with you guys my opinion so that way you can answer the question, should you go play The Legend of Pirates Online, or should you just forget about it and go play something else? So the main storyline of the game starts off with you sharing a jail cell with Captain Jack Sparrow. You guys know him, right? Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, court cases. Your character really has so many customization options to make him look however you wanted. This is where you really get to personalize your character, but of course, I didn't really have the time to do that, and I didn't care about it, so I just randomized all my options. But my initial reaction to the graphics really made me think of Toontown Online, a game that released in 2003, and this is a 2007 game with graphics that seem really outdated for its time, but I guess it's part of the charm of it because I didn't really mind it, it still looked pretty nice to me. But this is the point where you and Jack Sparrow escape the jail cell, and basically the story begins. You meet up with a couple of famous characters like Will Turner, Elizabeth Swann, and a bunch of other really memorable characters from the Pirates universe. So the initial storyline of the game revolves around going through a quest chain to recruit all the members of Jack Sparrow's crew, so that way you can go ahead and recover the Black Pearl. And even though up to this point, a lot of the features that the game has are very MMO oriented, like you have a quest chain, you have an action bar for combat, and you have a bunch of different equipments and skills, the main thing that really separates The Legend of Pirates Online from a game like World of Warcraft, for example, is that the quests are kind of divided into two sections, I say. You have the in-ground quests, and then you have the sailing quests. The in-ground quests really remind you of any other MMO that you've played, right? So you basically have to go, kill some monsters, collect some items, and just go back to the quest giver, right? So there's actually a variety of skills that you can level up independently, and you can kind of choose to specialize in one of them if you want to be just a sword wielder, or just a voodoo user, or if you want to go through the immense grind of having to level them all up to level 30, you can also do that too. But basically you have your skill levels, and you have your notoriety level, which is basically your overall level, your combat level, but each skill level gives you skill points so you can unlock different abilities, and you can really just allocate those skill points differently however you want, so there's a lot of customization and freedom when it comes to building your character. But something I definitely noticed, and either I didn't get far enough in the game to actually see it happen, or it just wasn't in the game to begin with, is that all the clothes you wear for your pirate, all the armor per se, doesn't really give you any armor bonuses, or maybe I just didn't see any armor bonuses. It's really more just like fashion. You're basically just looking good, you're making your character, your pirate, look however you want your pirate to look. But that's basically the gist of what you can expect from in-ground quests. They're very similar to every other MMORPG that's out there, but the part where I see that The Legend of Pirates Online really shines and stands out is in the sailing quests, because you get to level up your sailing skill, you get to level up your cannon skills, and you get to bring your friends over onto your ship, so that way one person can be sailing the ship, another one can be manning the cannons, you can have someone else repairing the ship, and the naval battles have to be one of the most fun parts of the game, because you start off with a rinky-dinky ship, but you can actually upgrade by buying bigger ships, faster ships, stronger ships, ships that can carry more loot. There's a lot of variety when it comes to your ship choices, and of course the game has PvP ship battles, and honestly, if you could just overlook the graphics part of the game, which I think is one of the worst parts, I honestly think you'll have a lot of fun playing The Legend of Pirates Online. But before we talk about the graphics and some parts of the game that actually suck, I want to mention that the game also has, apart from, combat skills and sailing skills, there's also fun skills. There's things like gambling. You can actually play poker and blackjack in the game, and honestly, I didn't know how to play these beforehand, and this is my chance to learn. And of course, I'm thinking, you as a kid, you have no idea what gambling is, but this is your first introduction to gambling. The Legend of Pirates Online just teaches you how to gamble. That's fun. Oh boy. So those are some of the fun things that the game has, but of course there are some downsides and some glitches and some problems that the game's having, because the game is entirely volunteer based, right? They're not making any money off of this, and obviously they can't for copyright issues. But to mention a couple of things that might be a point of contention for some people, like I mentioned, the graphics look very outdated even for its time, the way the character models look. There's also some server issues in the game that I noticed, like for example, in some instances, NPCs won't really be aggressive towards you, right? So going through a dungeon that you're supposed to go and fight your way through the very very end. You just end up walking all the way to the end because I guess there's a couple of issues and a couple of bugs that are being worked on the game. And another one that I noticed is that there's a guiding light, right? The light that tells you where to go, where your next objective is. Sometimes that doesn't appear, and if you're not really familiarized with the map and you don't know exactly where everything is, you could end up being a little lost. But it's kind of just, be aware of what you're doing, and if you have any questions or if you get lost, there's always the wiki that can help you out as well. But I did want to add that the quest line itself is actually kind of nice, right? It felt nice because sometimes when they give you a quest, it's not like every other game that's just like, hey, go kill this, come back. Oh, but now do this. Oh, but now do that, right? It's not like that. The quest that they give you is just like, hey, go kill this, this, and this, so it really felt like you're doing multi-objective quests, and it felt really nice to just go and not have to go back and forth and back and forth. So that was definitely a plus for that. And in terms of end game content, once you get to level 50 notoriety, once you level up all your skills to level 30, what can you do? So I obviously didn't get to max level, but I did talk on stream with a couple of max level players, with higher level players, asking them, hey, what can you do in the game after you finish everything? And from what I'm told, end game really just revolves around farming for legendary weapons and a bunch of other uniques as well. So I know that some players look forward to end game content and they do look for that appeal, and some games just really don't deliver that. But at least in the Legend of Pirates Online, you do have things to farm for, things to go, unlike some games that you get to max level and there's really nothing to do. So overall, my experience with the Legend of Pirates Online, I would give it probably a 7 out of 10. Like I mentioned, the game is pretty fun to play, and the sailing part of the game is honestly one of the biggest highlights compared to every other pirate game that's out there, honestly. Now, in terms of the player base, how many people are actually playing the game, the player count kind of revolves around 200 to 300 players on average, so there is a small but dedicated community. And overall, like I mentioned, the game is completely free to play and really fun to play, and if I wasn't playing so many other MMORPGs right now, I would definitely want to keep playing this one. So if you never got the chance to play the Legend of Pirates Online, or if you do remember playing Pirates of the Caribbean Online and you want to get back into it, honestly, I would just say check it out. Have fun, do your stuff, become a pirate. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to share with you guys, so I'll catch you on the next one.